We have a massive Los Angeles Lakers trade update to go over today as a new report from Shams has revealed some huge details surrounding Rob Pelinka's trade plans. Not only that, it has also revealed some interesting details surrounding their next target that they are actively going after. We're going to break that down in this episode and discuss what this means going forward as the Lakers prepare for something big. But before we get into it, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. And bear the camera and background. I'll be back on Tuesday. Currently traveling right now, so the quality won't be quite as good, but nonetheless, there's a lot to go over today. Now, obviously, the Lakers have been in talks with a bunch of different players, whether that be Walker Kessler, whether that be Bruce Brown, all these different guys. And a new report has finally dropped from Shams revealing some details surrounding the actual Lakers trade plans. Now, Shams is obviously the most reliable reporter there is, especially since Woj is gone now. And he came out and said this. There's a bunch of things to go over. This is significant that AD is saying this and not LeBron James. And he's talking about the new report that dropped from AD, or the new comment that dropped, I guess, from AD and LeBron, basically saying we need another big, we need more players. He's at the peak of the power, the prime of his career. Nobody in LA is ignoring this. He wants a championship. His motivation with LeBron is to bring another championship in LA. LA will be doing their due diligence. They have two very reliable trade assets, 2029 and 2031 picks. They will see what they can get, but what difference maker is there out there? That's what the parties are trying to figure out. I do think LA intends to do that between now and the trade deadline. So this is actually a pretty big report because for the first time in a while, we got a report from Shams revealing that a huge move is definitely coming for this team. And Shams is quite frankly revealing that. Now, again, we know AD and LeBron basically came out and said, we need to make moves. Our team, as currently constructed, I covered it a week or two ago, isn't good enough to make the championship or make a deep run. Now, the Lakers have been playing phenomenal basketball. We've obviously been watching. Yesterday, Gabe Vincent starting to play a little bit better. Jared Vanderbilt has made a huge impact in his brief stint that he played in yesterday night's game against the Warriors. And ultimately, the Lakers look like they're a team that can do some serious damage, especially if they go ahead and make another acquisition. But that's desperately what they need. And the fact that AD is saying this, according to Shams, and you can see the second part here, nobody in LA is ignoring this. And he's obviously referring to the trade request, I guess, of Anthony Davis. And not the trade request in the sense of AD requesting a trade, but a trade request in the sense of course, them requesting to get some more players. And when you're talking about actual players, whether that be AD or LeBron coming out and making requests like this, it's very surprising because you rarely see this from the actual stars. Now, there's been a couple other things. This is also from Shams. They've tried to get Walker Kessler many times. They have not been able to meet the steep price. I'm sure they'll keep trying. So now you talk about, and mentioned it in the report, what kind of player they are going after, what kind of player could they use their assets for in order to actually improve their team greatly, and what player is there out there. And that's what Shams has been talking about here. What difference maker is there out there? The 2029 and 2031 first round picks for the Los Angeles Lakers are incredibly valuable, specifically because obviously, who knows what the future of LeBron and even AD is as he gets into his mid to late 30s, and LeBron, of course, as he nears retirement. It becomes a question now of who can they go out there and acquire with these picks. And Walker Kessler, they've tried to acquire. And it seems like, we've been covering it on the channel a lot here, it seems like when it comes to these targets, specifically Walker Kessler, the Jazz are valuing him extremely highly. Now, that's obviously because A, he's one of the best underrated defensive bigs in the league. B, he's a super young player given everybody else that's out there on the market. So if you're Utah, you're only going to trade him if it's for an overwhelming asset. Now, when you're talking about Walker Kessler, again, they've tried to get him many times. And when they say steep price, we can start to think about what that steep price would be. Now, I'd assume they've offered one of their first round picks. I think if you went to Utah and said you can have both 2029 and 2031's first round pick, and you offered both of those, they would probably go ahead and do the deal. I don't think there's any debating that, any arguing that. But I think at this point, Rob Pelinka is probably saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and maybe offer him a first-round pick and then a player. We've heard some rumblings out there about Dalton Knecht in a first-round pick, and I want you to leave down below what player/pick package would you be willing to go ahead and basically give for Walker Kessler, because he's an interesting player that is young, he has upside, and even past this season, he is under control and could be a player that this team uses for years going forward. And that's the biggest thing. And let's not forget, one of the reasons that they're asking for such a steep price on specifically Walker Kessler is because of the fact that they own their 2027 first-round pick. The Utah Jazz own the Lakers pick. So if they are going to go out and help make them better potentially in 2027, there's going to have to be something there that kind of mitigates some of that risk for Danny Ainge over there in Utah. And maybe that is, again, getting rid of the protection on the first-round pick, or the Lakers paying up and giving them both the 2029 and 2031 first-round picks and maybe packaging Colin Sexton along with some of these other players in the deal. Now, there's been some rumors going around, some rumblings. The perfect scenario would be Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 firsts for Kessler. Rui plus 2 minimum contracts plus 2 seconds for Bruce Brown. Then you have a starting 5 of AR, Max, DFS, LeBron, and AD. And off the bench, you have Gabe, Bruce, Vando, and Kessler. So this would be, of course, an entire package. Now, I think Rui in 2 seconds would get the deal done for Bruce Brown. I definitely think that is something that the Raptors would strongly consider. We know reports have come out from Michael Grange, which is one of the most reliable Raptors beat writers and reporters over there at Sportsnet, basically saying that, hey, the Raptors will accept second-round picks for Bruce Brown. So Michael Grange is Sportsnet saying that. You pair that with the fact that Walker Kessler, I don't know if, again, I think at this point, when they say they've been trying to get Kessler, it is probably 1 first-round pick, either 2029 or the 2031. If you go out and you offer 2 first-round picks plus Jalen Hood-Schifino, you probably get Kessler. And then you have a starting lineup of Austin Reaves, Max Christie, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron, and AD. And then that also opens up off the bench because we know JJ Redick has said he wants to play 2 big men lineups. That is something they actively want to do. It's something that we've seen him continue to preach all season, especially since, they saw it work. Now, if they had Jackson Hayes, they had Christian Coloco, all these guys who aren't really, doing it for them. So then you, of course, bring Vanderbilt, not Vanderbilt. You have Vanderbilt back. You have Walker Kessler in. You bring in Bruce Brown, another veteran. I think things could start to work well. Again, they've tried to get Kessler many times. It hasn't worked out. You pair that with a couple of other things. I mean, you look at Walker Kessler's stats here, 11 points a game. He's been a great defensive center, and he's someone that's extremely reliable when it comes to being an elite defensive center and a pick-and-roll guy. And you pair that with the fact that they've tried to get him. All signs are pointing to really a matter of if the Lakers want to go out and really push their offer, because there's going to be a lot of other teams willing to make a move for a big man of this caliber, especially this young into his career, as again, he is only 23 years old, which is absurd. And when you start to think about where the Lakers currently stand, I mean, you have Vanderbilt back. LA plans to use Vanderbilt to guard the elite superstars in the NBA. We'll cover this in a future video as well and kind of cover what this means going forward. But I mean, when you think about who they have with Vanderbilt now, you have your point of attack defender, which is something that JJ Redick has requested. So I don't know if you necessarily need to use your first round picks on that. But if you can go ahead and get a guy like Bruce Brown who can be an elite role player for your seconds, and then you spend your first on an elite big man, then your team is looking a lot better with Austin Reaves, Max Christie, Dorian Finney-Smith, who's been playing better as of late. You have LeBron, you have AD. I mean, the defensive lineup of Dorian and Jared Vanderbilt is incredible. We saw Jared Vanderbilt's impact in the past as well. And of course, Jimmy Butler is also being thrown out there. I don't think, the Lakers are going to get him. We're hearing some rumblings about the Bucks. But regarding Jimmy Butler, I mean, it's still worth mentioning because, again, you think about the chances that, they use the 2 first-round picks for Jimmy Butler. The Suns obviously made the trade for the 2031 first-round pick in order to get the 3 unprotected first-round picks back. And then you go ahead and use those first-round picks to get Jimmy Butler if you are the Suns. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. A lot of new reports coming out from Shams. Finally hearing some reliable things. I think ultimately they're going to try to pull the trigger on a player like Walker Kessler. We've also heard Miles Turner's name be brought up, which again is another player that would fit alongside AD really well, which we'll cover in a video here soon, in a future video. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Again, tons of things going on, tons of things escalating and percolating for the Los Angeles Lakers. But let me know. Thank you guys for watching. And let me know, would you do these 2 trades? And also, what would be the max you give up for a guy like Kessler? Cheers.